go time.
The boys are back. That's right, Florida Man Sports is here with another exciting episode. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. This is Florida Man Sports.
Ladies and gents, FM Sports is back. Let's go. As always, folks, thank you for joining us. Another great episode here of Florida Man Sports. Christian, Johnny Cinco here. And we're jumping right into it because the NFL is almost done, Johnny.
You know, why you're not saying
it's almost. I'm sad. It's almost done.
No, I ain't sad yet.
AFC, NFC, and then of course we wait a couple weeks for Super Bowl. At any rate, we start this episode, Johnny, with the coaching carousel because it continues. We are down to 4 teams that have coaching vacancies, if you will, and there's a lot to talk about. We'll start with Ben Johnson, who joins the Bears. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let's go with both. Ben Johnson joined the Bears, and then Aaron Glenn, joined the Jets. So both coordinators for the Lions are moving on. Interesting what's going to happen next year with the Lions. We'll talk a little more about the Lions implosion, what happened to them, and what's going to happen next year now that they're losing that talent.
A lot to digest this episode.
One thing I take from this is that obviously the NFL, when it comes to coaching, is really pushing towards what I always say, the youth movement. So Chris knows about this. It's interesting to me because you would think
I hate you so much.
You would think that you have someone like Caleb Williams, you have them there. You want an established coach. You want somebody who's going to go ahead and push them. And no, they're going to go to these unproven guys. Listen, there's a lot of good coordinators, a lot of great coordinators that are horrendous head coaches. That's a little foreshadowing for you as we continue on with the show. But with these guys, all right, good. They did well with Detroit. Now they get the shot to go ahead and do something with the Jets. Good luck. I think they should have went with somebody proven. We talked about it last week. Now the Jets, they should have considered maybe bringing back maybe an old face. The last time they had success, Mr. Ryan, but they went the other way. Chris, what do you think?
Well, I mean, let's start with Ben Johnson to the Bears. For me, I'm going to give that grade an A-. I disagree with you.
You're giving grades to somebody's unproven.
I want to give grades because here we analyze all the sports and analyze the coaching staff.
You called Ben Johnson going to Jacksonville Jaguars.
I did, and we're going to get to what happened there because it's very interesting to brought that out. But going back to Ben Johnson and the Bears, I think it's an A-. The only reason why I say it's not a full A or an A+ is because it happens again. Here's another time, Johnny, where you get a coach who already has a quarterback there that he has to use and utilize. Now, obviously, Ben Johnson's not going to pick this job if he doesn't know the tape on Caleb Williams, which is fine. But I always like to see the coach and QB come in the same year. That's just my little thing that I like, I guess.
That's everybody. You'll want
them
in the coming up,
world.
Establishing together. Coach, offensive coordinator, QB.
Right.
You want that. When you get that, together for the longevity, it's always successful.
Right, and then to answer your other point about offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators not being head coaches, you're right. It happens a lot in the NFL. But the only way is to get an opportunity, and this is his first one. So we have to see how it goes. As far as comparisons, I compare this to Callahan last year for the Titans.
How'd that work out?
Well, exactly, right. I mean, he may win a little bit more games, or maybe not. But I compare it to that because he had Levis, who was already there at quarterback. So it's a very good example of an offensive coordinator who was a very good, talented offensive coordinator who's going to be going into a very tough situation. So anyways, I give it an A-. Moving on to the Jets.
How can you give it an A-? You have an unproven coordinator who's coming in here. So, I'm going to give an A-, A- to a proven coach. They made a move. He came in there. It makes sense. As much as I like the dog McCarthy, and when he came to the Cowboys, he was an established coach. And now we have an unknown A- to a guy who hasn't done anything. You've been dogging the Detroit Lions all year. Talking about a garbage they are. They're terrible. The coordinator goes on the team. A-, great job. You didn't give props to Ben Johnson at all the entire season, and now he gets an A-.
Well, remember that at the end of the day, unless you're the Bucs, because you know how I feel about the Bucs, unless you are the Bucs, when we're talking about the teams and their records, it's all about the head coach, and I'm never a fan of Campbell, and that's what's always been about. It's about Campbell. It's clear that the reason why he's getting poached on offense and on defense is because you win back-to-back double-digit win seasons. So it's going to happen. It's expected. But again, that's why, to answer your point, why I can dog the Lions, but I'm more talking about the coach and the team. The offense and defensive coordinators clearly have shown that they're young and they're talented, which is why they had the jobs that they got. So going back to the defensive coach, he brought the team from like 20-something to like top 6, top 7 last I checked this season. So that's another great hire, right? So you're talking about Aaron Glenn, who goes to the Jets. You're talking about a guy, and I know that you already know this, Johnny, but you're talking about a guy who's a former Jet, first-round pick by the Jets, spent 15 years in the league with multiple teams. So this is another coaching hire that I love, that is young, that deserves to be on a head coach at this point in the game. So I'm very happy that the top of the litter, if you will, the top pick of the litter are these offense and defensive coordinators and not these older coaches that are still out there, that are still available.
Successful.
No, there's no knock on them. No knock on them. But again, it just shows what I said before, that the game is looking to get younger and the talent is there. And the talent is there for these coordinators, and now they're getting head coaching jobs.
So I just said that the NFL is moving coaching-wise towards the youth movement, and now you're stealing it from me, saying
if people that, which by the way, Florida Man Sports, streaming in all platforms.
Your own ideas, bro.
Streaming on all platforms, you would know that he took that line from me. That's okay. I want to.
You own the words youth movement.
I want to compare this one with the Jets. He's going to get. This is an A across the board for me as far as a hire. And I just real quick, Johnny. I want to. I want to compare this one to Mike McDaniels of the Seahawks, because now that's another very similar credentials. 10 wins. He got 10 wins last year. But again, in a team that gets 10 wins. And now we're talking about the Jets. I think I can speak for all Jets fans. If they get 6-7 wins this year, they'll consider it a step in the right direction. So I like the hire. I like the hire for Glenn. If
Vince Lombardi's reincarnated and is a coach for the Jets, they'll still lose because of the freaking Jets. So no, I don't care what the Jets do. The Jets should have went ahead and picked up their old coach and just see that's the last time you had any success. And you have guys, for me, I'm like, you had success. These guys know what they're doing. Let's give it a shot. No, we're going to go towards the unknown. They've done this. They continue to go ahead and get these guys who had success somewhere else.
This was a good hire.
We'll see.
This was a good hire.
Both of these hires are a C.
So
they're a C, not an A minus.
I'm glad you got grades. I got an A minus and an A, and you got the other side here saying C's. That's fine.
You know who deserves an A plus? The GM for the line. The GM for the Lions is the reason the Lions, those playmakers, the team he put together are the reason the Lions did what they did. Okay. Despite of horrible play calling by offensive coordinator, by the head coach, still defense.
We'll get there. We'll get there. But so let's. There's so much to digest. There's so much to digest with these hires, and I want to talk about some other hires that aren't head coaches. But real quick, short and sweet for the Lions, because we got to rip that Band-Aid.
Yeah, there's no short and sweet. We keep it going.
We got to rip the Band-Aid. Like they're gone now, right? So what do you see next year? Foreshadowing. We'll talk about the game in a little bit, but do you see 10 plus wins next year? What do you see for them next year?
No, we're not going to get into. We'll talk about how
many. Just hypothetically, because 2
coaches
are gone.
I don't know what moves they're going to make in the offseason, but what I will say is that we are going to find out if Dan Campbell's a head coach.
There you go.
We're going to find out if he can actually coach. So we'll see. We saw what happened with Sirianni when he lost the coordinators last year. They went on a run, but then a complete collapse. So we shall see.
So I agree with you there. I'll leave that there. And I want to double down now, because you did mention the Jacksonville Jaguars. You did mention that I had our boy Johnson going there, right? Did you notice, Johnny, today, the creme of the creme, the 3 guys. It was Johnson that went to the Bears, right? It was Glenn that went to the Jets.
Okay.
And then our very own for the Bucks, Cohen, said that he's sticking with Tampa Bay.
Good for him.
And as soon as that happened, what happened next? The owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars fires the general manager for the Jaguars.
It's all time.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing people don't understand. This is exactly what happened. The owner who kept him after they fired Peterson.
I was surprised they
kept him, right? And now he lets him go. He's like, you couldn't bring me one of those 3? You couldn't bring me one of those 3? Get out of my office. That's exactly what happened. And that's why now they're looking for a head coach and they're looking for a GM. That's great. That's the answer.
Dude, Jacksonville is a mess. Jacksonville, who had the number 1 overall pick, they had some talent there. Urban Meyer, that collapsed. They went ahead and say, no, Doug Peterson's the guy. He had success one time, and he looked like he was turning it, and then somehow he lost the team. It's just a complete collapse. Last year we saw what happened. 99% chance to make the playoffs, fell off the cliff.
Debacle.
This year, not even close. It's a complete mess. They lost every close game. It's unfortunate what's happened with our Florida team in Jacksonville. We wish success for them, but unfortunately, they're stuck in the abyss. The Detroit Lions got out of that abyss where they were in for decades, and they went ahead and handed it off to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now you go ahead and take our spot over there. We're going to go try to succeed. You stay there, and that's where they're at.
I couldn't agree more with you. It's like beating a horse at this point, so I'll leave that there. There's a couple of coordinator hires too that I want to go over, but before that, John,
there's only one.
There's two.
There's only
but before that, as of this recording, again, Florida Man Sports streaming on all platforms, we've got the Saints, the Jaguars, the Raiders, and the Cowboys. There's 4 head coaching vacancies. My thought is now we're going to start seeing those veteran coaches get picked up, the second stringers, if you will, at least this season. What are your thoughts? Any names you want to throw out for teams?
Let me ask you a question. I get you're saying everything else here. Where's McCarthy going? He's going to get hired. Where's he going? Where's he going?
Saints.
No, he's going to the Raiders.
Saints.
Raiders. Nope. That's what I think he's going to go and figure it out. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening there. Still, these teams are fools. All of them. I get it. Somebody rocking the gear. But they're all fools for not going ahead and picking up the greatest head football coach of all time. And they didn't do it, so he went to the college. And because all these guys say they want to go younger, they want coaches to go ahead and be cool, relate. How'd that work out for the Falcons? How'd that work out for the Falcons?
I told you that. I'm service announcement. Everybody, go ahead and comment on YouTube and comment on X, where all the platforms that we're on, and let Johnny know. Say, Johnny, let it go. Bill Belichick is no longer a coach in the NFL. Let it go. Let it go.
I'm excited to see him in college, see what he does there. I'll tell you one thing. If Mahomes and the Chiefs win another championship, I'm focusing on college. Chris is going to be all NFL. I'm done with the NFL if the Chiefs repeat and they hand it to him there.
We'll get there.
I'll talk more about college.
Here's my predictions. Here's my predictions for the head coaching jobs, and you tell me yours. I got for the Saints, I got Mike McCarthy. I'm calling it right now.
Okay.
For the Jaguars now, you got Robert Saleh. By the way, or Saleh? How do you pronounce that?
He's a former Jet coach. Nobody.
Okay. Well, and by the way, I'm going to grade that because I'm calling that from the top rope. That's what's going to happen. And that's going to be.
You think he has with the debacle, the failure with the Jets? He's going to go ahead and sign with them.
And that's why I'm going to grade it ahead of time at the C+. Because basically, you went for Peterson, who won a Super Bowl, and I know he did a bad job this year, whatever the heck may be, to another coach who has not been proven yet. So it doesn't really improve the team. So Robert Saleh, whatever his name is, going to go there. For the Raiders, I've got Pete Carroll at the top of the list, and then I've got Todd Monken, because you got the Bucs GM there, the Bucs assistant GM, and obviously Todd Monken, he was an offensive coordinator for the Bucs, so there's a lot of ties there. So again, Todd Monken or Pete Carroll is going to the Raiders, and then I've got Ron Rivera as a consolation prize for either the Raiders or the Cowboys.
No, I have Pete Carroll going to the Saints. Pete Carroll's going to go to the Saints. You saw what I have with the Raiders. Now,
you got Pete Carroll Saints?
Yeah, Pete Carroll Saints. I have McCarthy, of course, going to the Raiders. And when it comes to the Cowboys,
terrible. They're terrible.
Listen, I can give you some names figured out. Nobody knows. This guy is a mess here. The owners know what he's doing. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. I alluded to it last episode. Name himself as a head coach. Yeah. He made it very clear he bought the team for employment. He bought the team to run it because he said himself, I bought an occupation. He doesn't care about what anybody says. This is his team. He bought it to run it, to be the GM. And I won't be surprised, but I'll be the head coach. So
isn't it going to be crazy though? At the end of the day, I feel like the Saints, the Jags, and the Raiders are going to get all the last pickings of the good coaches, if you will, and then the Cowboys are going to be left with their thumb, where. And I mean, again, I told you this when they fired him. How are they going to do better than McCarthy? Tell me now how they're going to do better with what's left than McCarthy.
Well, it's not what's left.
They're not.
I just thought that
they're not.
Out of all the teams that should have went towards the youth movement and all these guys, really the Cowboys needed to go ahead and make a change. I get what you're saying. It just wasn't working with McCarthy. I don't care what you have to say about the wins in the regular season. It wasn't working. He had his chance. They gave him the full contract to see what he can do, and he didn't do what they brought him in to do. So I think at that point, they should have made a real push for Ben Johnson or one of the coordinators. Whether it's going to work out or not, whatever. Those are the best available candidates. Young guys come in and shake things up because doing the same thing over and over again while expecting different results is insanity. Yeah. So that's what the Cowboys are. They've been for 30-plus years. So why should we expect anything different? So who knows? All I know it's going to be something nuts with the Cowboys. It always is. But you're talking all this mess here. There's only one coordinator that matters. Only one, sir.
Let
Please
me,
get to
because
it.
I know.
Please, sir. Please.
So your New England Patriots, your coach Mike Vrabel, who I graded as a C, but after letting go, after firing Mayo, which made no sense.
God. It made perfect sense.
Anyways,
okay.
he's like Vrabel's like, yeah, I'm the man. I know everything. I'm gonna bring some fresh talent.
That's what he said.
I'm gonna bring some fresh blood
he came
to this Patriot
press conference. I know everything.
Yeah.
I
got it all figured out. And then he brings Mike McDaniels for his 500th stint to come back to be
Josh
McDaniels. I don't know.
Get the name
I don't get this. Josh McDaniels.
Put some respect on that.
He brings back old Joshy boy on his fifth ride.
Old Joshy.
Yeah, on his fifth ride as
sure.
offensive coordinator. Johnny, please tell us, Florida Man Sports, your thoughts.
It's simple. Every Patriot fan understands this here. We're excited about this. Josh McDaniels is arguably the greatest offensive coordinator of all time. The guy is successful as a head coach. Heck no. Get the heck out of here. He doesn't fit that cap. He doesn't work out well. We see it we saw with the Broncos, saw with the Raiders. But offensive coordinator, tremendous job with the Patriots. When he was the coordinator of Alabama, did a great job there that year under Nick Saban. This guy knows what he's doing. He's a play caller in terms of offensive. And he helped make Tom Brady what he is. Now, he didn't make him, but he helped him get to that. So they're hoping he do 50%, 10% of what he did for Tom, he does for his, obviously right here, we got your boy May. So for us, as a Patriot fan, as anybody who's rooting for the Patriots, we're excited about this move. Vrabel and McDaniels together there, outstanding move. The Patriots haven't had a lot to root for, be hyped about. I was never hyped up about Mayo. I thought he was the wrong hire from the get. You rated him last season. We watched the tape, and Mayo, what a great hire. I'm like, what? No, he's not.
First of all, I wasn't grading last season, so I don't know what
you grade everything.
I wasn't grading last season.
You grade everything.
So
and I said from the beginning there that
okay.
Mayo's not the guy. He's not. He's a defensive-minded coach. That's what he was, and he failed miserably. Our defense was terrible. They didn't sit here and let it run out. Let's give them 2 or 3 years. No, they saw immediately, no, this isn't going to work. Let's just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. We'll cut the check, move on, and pick up a great hire in Vrabel, and even better hire with McDaniels. Well done, Patriots.
Okay, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet. You're spinning your wheels. You're talking about somebody. Let me just ask you a question. I'll finish this with a question.
I'm so excited.
I'll move this with a question. When Bill Belichick quit or was fired, he was fired.
He quit.
Ripped the Band-Aid. He was fired.
He quit.
When he was fired, who was his offensive coordinator?
It wasn't McDaniels. He left. McDaniels was the coach.
At that point, he was a coach. I can't remember. He's been fired and come back so many times. Wasn't it? Your boy?
It wasn't McDaniels. No,
okay.
No,
so where was he? Oh, he was in college at the time.
No, remember he was with the Raiders and they let him go mid-season last year.
So he was with the Raiders in Bills last year.
Yes.
Okay. Listen.
Last year,
the guy's been around so long and back and forth. So this guy is telling you, as Patriots
this is his third stint with the Patriots. He had 2 stints with the Patriots. Now he's back.
Feels like 30. So this guy's telling you that this is,
and it always worked out.
This is the year.
Always excelled.
And you
always
just
Super
yourself
Bowl.
right there, my friend. You just jinx yourself right there.
Why?
Did you just say Super Bowls? Did that just come out of your mouth?
And I'm saying it always worked out. There was multiple.
You said Super Bowls.
Yes, multiple Super Bowls.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Florida Man Sports.
What is funny?
Man.
I'm sorry. Is just that the hate. The hate surrounding the Patriots is ridiculous.
Lord.
Because guys like you guys are just thinking the Patriots. You don't remember the Patriots before Brady, even before Bledsoe. But Patriot fans understand how bad we were, and we were in the bottom. We were the Jacksonville Jaguars for a while, and then we reached the pinnacle, the best football franchise in the NFL, the real America's team. They did everything they needed to do, and they did it with excellence and with class, and you're just hating on them because of what happened with Mayo. Like, oh my God, what's class? No, they saw it. They said, I apologize. Here's a check. We're paying you for the whole contract. Thank you for your service.
Right.
You're still a Patriot, but it's just not working out. You don't just hold on to him just because he was a Patriot. You gave him a shot, and he failed miserably.
Here's hoping Mike Vrabel gets a whole year. Now, forget about all the games. Let's hope he gets a whole year from the moment he gets
But he's
hired.
proven himself.
Yeah.
He's won playoff games with Tennessee.
He
beat the Patriots in the playoffs there. What did Mayo do? What did Mayo do as a coach? Nothing.
He was literally next in line to the greatest coach that ever lived. Like you said, he was handpicked by the organization.
No,
he was the coordinator for them And so he has experience and wins in championships under that belt. What are you talking about?
Vrabel was the head coach, and that's it. You said
to be a head coach, Johnny, you got to get the opportunity. To be a head coach, you got to get an opportunity, right? Yes, more than 1 year, folks. More than 1 year.
You just said regarding the Lions that no, you disregard the coordinators. It's all about the head coach. So the coordinators, the success of the team is on the coordinators, it's on the head coach.
Exactly.
So
you give them more than a year.
So the
exactly.
No. So you're making my point. Dude, why do you pat yourself on the? Terrible. Now you're over here talking about Mayo. The success the Patriots have because of Mayo.
You're comparing Campbell, who had now a handful of years, or a little less than a handful of years, to Mayo. When I said that,
the Patriots thought that he was better than when he was. They worded it in his contract that he will be the successor. That's a factual. Okay. They worded in his contract to be the successor to Bill Belichick because they thought he was the deal. And then when they saw him work, they realized, you know what, we were wrong. We were wrong. It wasn't the fact that he had the 4 wins. It's like they realized that we were wrong, that you're not the guy we thought you were. So instead of extending it and ruining the possible development of your first-round quarterback, we're going to bring in the guy that we think can. Obviously,
I feel all you're doing is just wasted a year with Mayo. Now you're going to waste a year with Vrabel because for that you should have brought him back last year. You're wasting all this time when you could have had him there. And at the end of the day, with McDaniels, rinse and repeat. Will it work a third time? Tom Brady's not in the building. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
It's better late than never. Obviously, we could have brought in Vrabel last year, but we said no. We felt we had Mayo. If they would have called me and said, Johnny, what do you think about Mayo? I would have advised against it and said no. Vrabel's the guy. We talked about it. Hey, Mayo's going to be the guy. And Vrabel is the dude. I was right as usual.
By this time next week, there'll be more coaching changes. Like I said, 4 positions to fill. And then again, just one last pat on the back to Liam Cohen for salute this man for staying with the Bucs. I want to point out one thing that's super, super important about this. Baker Mayfield has been in the league 7 years. How many offensive coordinators has Baker Mayfield had?
Let's see, 7 years, 6?
9. Right. He's had 9 coordinators in 7 years. This is the first time he's going to get back-to-back with the same coordinator. So, again, kudos to the Bucs, making him one of the highest, if not the highest-paid offensive coach, and he's the future for Tampa Bay. So, kudos to that.
9 offensive coordinators.
That's how it's done, in 7 years.
It's almost as many illegitimate children you have. Maybe it's almost.
This is not appropriate. It's Florida fan sport. Go to the next part.
All right, guys.
Jesus Christ.
So, guys, when we talk about this now, let's move a little forward here too. We want to get into our picks, but the Ravens and Lions, guys, those were our picks for the Super Bowl. Those were our picks. They failed us miserably. Chris, we saw the game. Everybody saw what happened in the divisional round here. Let's start with the Lions, Chris. How did they lose that game?
Okay, so let's start here. If I told you that this game, before the game happened, would have over 75 points scored total, would you have believed it honestly? 75 points total?
Well, if you would have told me that, I would have thought, okay, then yes, the Lions went off. They're a high-powered offense. They went off.
Correct. And so kudos to the Commanders for them. I said this last episode that they got the underdog tag on and they're just playing their hearts out. You got Jaden Daniels playing out of his mind. And you've got a team who does not care who you are. They're going on the road again to win. So, no, I'm completely flabbergasted that they won. It was a game that if I was a gambling person, I would have bet money straight up the Lions win. And a lot of people that pick the Commanders, congratulations, you got paid, man.
The only people who pick the Commanders were fans.
Right, well, okay, you got paid. My only regret in this game, Johnny, is that they're not the Washington Redskins. They're the Commanders. Short of that, give this team their flowers, their credit, everything, because now they're going to the NFC Championship game with a rookie coach, with a rookie quarterback, and with a team that I feel like, you remember the movie The Replacements? Of course. In the offseason, I kind of felt like they did that, right? They had like a bunch of Eckler, Wagner, and defense, like all these older
Johnny
guys.
Utah.
All these older guys that they just put together. And I'm like, oh, they're just trying to win 7-8 games. No, they're freaking went 12-5, and now they're playing for the NFC Championship. So I'm flabbergasted on the win. But kudos, the better team won. They deserve to be there. So you drop your. If you're the Lions, listen. If you're the Lions and you drop your pants,
better team.
Let me before you get your input. Let me explain what I mean by that, because I get it. Mm-hmm. The Lions are the better team record-wise on paper, but any given Sunday, right?
Really? Now we're going there.
I know the game, was on Saturday, but the This is the greatest show on turf. You pull your pants down and you give up 45 points. You deserve to lose the game. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah, I get it, but we've had many conversations. So as usual, talking both sides of your mouth. I'm making much sense when it comes to that. But what comes down simple to the Detroit Lions, they lost because of coaching. This game was still back and forth. They could not stop the run. We understand that. The Commanders did a tremendous job of faking them to they would hand off to Eckler when they needed to. Jaden Daniels would go ahead and the option. The only team, one of the last teams to run the college option. So they didn't know. Eckler is going to be Jaden Daniels, and then once in a while they would fake both and then pass it on the middle for 20 yards. So they kept them on their toes. They didn't know what was coming. So failed job by the defensive coordinator to recognize and make adjustments there. The defensive coordinator, who you gave a great rating, terrible job. Even more terrible, the offensive coordinator and the head coach. Still, regardless of everything that's happening there, it is a one-possession game. The Commanders went ahead and just rolled down and took the lead in the fourth quarter. Now, there's only a few minutes left in the game. This is the most important drive of the season for the Detroit Lions. And what do? They call essentially an option pass to the wide receiver. They pass the wide receiver, and he threw what? Big surprise, an interception while they were making the drive for the season. And the offensive coordinator makes a horrible call and signed off by Mr. Campbell. And it's horrible. And then it continued on after that. More bad play calling. Horrible job. At the end of the day, I was worried about what Campbell's going to do. He's going to melt down. He's going to do stupid decisions. And he did. He plays this damn game, coaches this game, I should say, like it's Madden. Let me go ahead and create this option. You put the hands in Goff to go ahead and lead the drive. You don't put the hands in Williams, your wide receiver, to go ahead and make a pass down maybe pass it down here. This 20-yard pass, which is a horrible pass for the season. And then from there, the Commanders just rolled, scored again and again and again. Horrible coaching job. Lions, good luck, Campbell. We're going to see what you're going to do next year. I don't think you're going to do much. We're going to talk about that coming into the next season here. But good luck to the Lions now that you have brand new coordinators and it's all on Campbell. I think those coordinators really covered up even a lot of the mess that we saw from Campbell. But it should be interesting. The Ravens, Chris.
No, sir. No, we're not jumping. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Florida man sports. Listen, talking about both sides of your mouth. First, you talk about.
Oh, you're still hurt.
Yeah.
You're hurt by that
First,
comment.
talk about how the offensive coordinator, defense, the ones you're talking about, and then you're talking about how we're going to see now Campbell. Like you literally just talked out of both sides of your mouth right now. And I'm gonna tell you something, guys. This game had nothing to do with the offense and defense coordinator.
No.
I'm gonna tell you what this game had everything to do with.
Go ahead.
It had to do with Campbell. And the week before, when he shook hands with the Vikings coach, and what did he tell the Vikings coach? See you in 2 weeks. That right there.
It was accurate.
You think the team like the Commanders, the team that I said are underdogs, aren't listening? That's locker room stuff you put on the wall.
That's what it was.
I'm saying that
this was a regular season
what I'm
game.
Saying is that plays,
it was a division rival.
That plays a huge part. And if I was the coach of the Washington Commanders, I'm doing they already think they see you next week. We're not it. And you use that as fuel. I think that's one of the things that helped the Commanders win this game because, again, nobody had picked them to win. So there's a lot more to it than that. And then I will agree with you. I will agree with you that it's going to be very interesting to see what Campbell's made of. Hothead Campbell, I'm going to call him, next year with whatever coordinator he decides to go with. Before we go to the Ravens and Bills, Johnny, I do want to talk about the Chiefs and Texans game because just real quick.
Okay.
I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of it.
Of course.
I picked the Texans to win this game. They could have won this game.
They should have won the game.
They should have won this game. But once again, when the commentators that are talking, which I don't know, I don't like them all the time, but when they're literally the ones telling you in front of all the fans in the world going, okay, what's going on here? That should be a sign to tell you that this game is not being ref properly. Another week, another game where this guy just gets freebies. It wasn't like the helmet to helmet. It wasn't a helmet to helmet, and he gets flagged first down. At least four times I counted the Chiefs got first downs on flags.
Well, yeah, we saw your goat flop to try to get there.
If this wasn't my
listen to previous shows, you're over here like, oh my God, he's one Super Bowl away from being the greatest. Like, what the heck are you talking about?
Perdone, bro. I never said that. You brought the Spanish. I never said that.
LeBron's your goat, and it makes perfect sense now. Now Mahomes your goat. So it makes perfect sense for the generation that one that had to be like, I feel like an old man. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like Mahomes, Mahomes, we talk about the most overrated player. It's Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's not great. I'm not saying he's not amazing.
I agree.
But I don't want to hear how he's even the conversation as being the GOAT or the best. Like, dude, you flopped in the NFL. Everybody's still talking about it. You try to get that flag. You purposely check up, slow down to try to get hit, it's a joke.
Oh, you flopped out of bounds too. That flop.
I'm saying you don't play this game with any type of integrity or honor. No, Mahomes, get out of here, bro. Get out. Take your ring. You Kansas City guys, I'm sure you love them. Everybody, you can say whatever you want about Brady. People say the same treatment. Brady was tough. Brady played the game the right way. Yes, he got some calls, but you never saw this from Brady. I don't want to hear. You never saw it from any quarterback. It's the first time I've seen this from a quarterback just flopping and really baiting the defensive players to go ahead and get a flag. It's a joke.
So we both agree on the Chiefs-Texans game, the way that went. We already spoke about the Commanders and Lions. And then just real quick, the Eagles beat the Rams. Nobody expected anything different. The Eagles deserve to win. They got a lot of work to do. The Ravens and Bills. Baby. So the reason why I wanted to go over those three games for the Ravens and Bills is because the Ravens and Bills is one of those games where the Bills didn't win.
Oh my!
The Ravens gave the game away.
Ridiculous.
There's one thing for you to win the game, like the Commanders beat the Lions. They won the game. Like the Eagles beating the Rams. The Eagles won the game. Okay, the Bills and the Ravens gave the game away. When you have 0 turnovers to 3, you gave the game away. When you have When you have drops, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4, you give the game away. When you have a game you're the away team. There were, the Bills were at home. They lose by 2 points. A game that has 3 turnovers, that has flag upon flag, and at the very end, Andrews with the missed 2-point conversion. This game was a winnable game, and this one I can honestly say out of all the games this week, Johnny, the better team lost, and I'm ashamed of them.
Wow, that was
the better team lost.
What a bunch of garbage. The Ravens. I picked the Bills to win this game. Why? Because Buffalo, they worked hard for that number 2 seed.
Low for Johnny.
And it's the Ravens were favored. So I picked the Bills to go ahead and win this game. Clearly, what did I talk about last week? I talked about it. I said, listen, win in Buffalo. And you were hyping up your MVP and Lamar Jackson. And how, oh my God, 5 interceptions. I'm like, that dude, you don't even count. None of you guys talk about his fumbles. This guy doesn't protect the ball as well as you should. And then what happened? Costly fumble. What happened? An interception. And you want to sit here and dog Andrews for that situation. I tell you all the time this. We're always kind of texting for not watching the game. Where I'm like, dude, you never, ever, ever go for 2 until you need to. I'm so tired of these coaches being coached by a clipboard and analytics. You see, well, the clipboard says to go for 2. It is the third quarter with 10 minutes left. Why are you going for 2? You wait until you need to get it, then you get it. And then they went for it. They didn't get it. And then, oh my God, what happened at the end? They needed a 2-point conversion. They should have never been in that situation. I'm not blaming Andrews because they're not robots. 99 times out of 100, you're making that catch. But you're playing in Buffalo. It's cold. It's frigid. You're making the throw. And he would always make that catch. But there's that 1% chance that he doesn't make it. And he didn't make it. But they should have never been in that situation. Horrendous play calling by Harbaugh in the third quarter. We're going for 2 because he didn't coach. These coaches that are clipboard coaches are a joke. And he cost the team a chance to win it. It still could have tied the game in enforcement overtime, assuming that Allen didn't do with 1 minute left something crazy. No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay.
You're going to wait your turn here. So you're not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, the turnovers. Andrews caught the ball, 30-yard pass, open field. Defender for the Bills punched the ball out. High football IQ. If anybody watched the game and watched a million replays, he instead of just going for the tap, going for the legs, no. He went, punched the ball out. High football IQ move because they needed that turnover and they got it.
Right.
The momentum was shifted. It was going there, and he completely turned it Buffalo's direction. That is excellent coaching from the Buffalo side. That is something to where you want to see here and take away a victory from Buffalo, who earned that victory. It was going to be a close game. We all knew it was going to be a close game. I just thought the close game is going to go Buffalo's direction because they're playing home. They used that home field advantage, and the Ravens did them a favor by being a clipboard coach, analytics coach, instead of being like, no, get the extra point. You have one of the greatest kickers of all time in Tucker. Get the extra point. Don't mess around with it. No, we're going to go for 2 points with 10 minutes left in the third quarter because the clipboard said so. You deserve to lose, Ravens. I told you you're going to lose. Chris is hurt because he lost $10,000 or so on a bet. So he's upset about it still. But no, sir. Don't take it away from the bill.
Look, folks, ultimately, we're going to have a complete disagreement when it comes to the fundamentals of football. That's basically what we're ripping the Band-Aid on here. You can agree, disagree. You're not there with that clipboard. You're not there with the analytics. You're not there with your offensive coordinator. No, and your defensive coordinator, and you listening to them on what it is that you need to do. And one thing that I love how you mentioned, you talk about the weather, talk about being playing in Buffalo. How about the fact that people miss extra points all the time? How about the fact that
they don't miss it all the time?
Yeah, they do.
It's
how about the fact that Tucker?
96%.
How about the fact that Tucker has had the worst season of his career this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now with extra points. Now with extra points.
It's irrelevant. It's the playoffs. So you're the bona fide.
This wasn't a
sir.
50-yard
You had
field
your
goal.
chance, sir. You had your chance.
He's the number one postseason kicker of all time. But all right, sure.
You've had your opportunity. Okay. Thank you, bye-bye. Look, folks, you got wise. So what the hell? All right, so look, with Tucker, besides the fact that he's had the worst year, I'll leave it with this. At the end of the day, you can Monday morning quarterback anything you want. Oh, well, they should have. Look, see,
that's what we're doing.
I told you
that's
I'm
what
right.
we do here,
oh, yeah,
Chris.
I told you I'm right.
This whole podcast is about Monday morning quarterback.
But what I'm saying is you can do that, but you're not there. You're not there looking at the numbers. You're not there looking at the analytics. You're not looking at those people making the calls. In other words, hindsight's 20/20. He kicks it. Look.
You're ridiculous.
I'll leave it with this. He hits the extra point, and they're still nowhere near. They lose by 7. You don't know that. You don't know the rest of the game. You're assuming that if he makes the extra point, that the game still goes the way that it goes. Strategies change. Right? Play calls change. So I hate when people do that. I hate when people go, well, in the third quarter with 10 minutes, if they would have done this, the rest of the game would have gone the same and they would have won.
Okay.
It's asinine.
We're not talking about this is why I'm going to destroy your argument here because we're not talking about a 7-point swing here. You're not talking about, they went for the touchdown and missed the touchdown and got nothing out of it. We're talking about they scored the touchdown. We're talking about the clipboard said to go for 2 instead of extra point. Extra point, when they would have been down by 1 point. But they wanted to tie it in the third quarter with 10 minutes left, which doesn't make any sense to anybody except for nerds who don't play football, don't know anything about football, but they look at the stats, look at the analytics and what it tells them to do. Because there's so many variables in football. Things happen, turnovers happen, injuries happen in the middle of a game. So many things happen that the analytics can't predict. So, under perfect scenario, the analytics might be right. We saw, then what happened after that? The fumble by Andrews. We saw what happened there, that drop there for the 2-point conversion. They should have never been, nothing would have changed.
You don't know.
Okay. If they made the 2-point conversion, Chris, it would have been a tie game. Nothing would have changed. They still would have needed a touchdown to tie. They wouldn't have needed the 2-point conversion. Nothing would have changed in this scenario. I get what you're saying.
10 minutes in the third, when you're talking about the play, when they went for 2 to tie the game at that point, instead they missed it, right? So then they were down by 2. Right? Had they have gone and made the extra point, it behooves me. Okay. Yeah. To say that the game would have gone exactly the same way. You don't know that. And neither do I for that matter.
There was no reason.
And neither do I for that matter.
There's no reason for anything to change.
You don't know.
The only thing, dude, the game went exactly the way it was going to go because it was such a close game. The only thing that changed was the final play for the Ravens in terms of needing a 1 point, this extra point, or a 2-point conversion. And they needed to go for the 2-point conversion because they put themselves in that position. You got destroyed. I'm sorry.
Let's agree to disagree. We're beating a horse. We're beating a horse here. And I know that the fans, please comment on all of our social platforms. They're going to agree with me. At the end of the day, the Ravens beat themselves more than they lost the game. And another sad, wasted year, not just for Jackson, but for King Henry. So moving on, Johnny, Waterman Sports, streaming on all major platforms here. Let's move on to the teams that won, whether they deserve to win or not. Let's start with the NFC Championship game. Let's hit it here at the 38-minute mark. You got the Commanders taking on the Eagles. The Eagles enjoying that home field advantage. What do you got winning this one?
I mean, nobody's really picking the Commanders in the same situation. I'm looking at everything. Nobody picked them against the other two teams, and why would we pick them here? It doesn't make sense. I'm looking at the run. The Eagles were, I think, number 9 in run defense. The Washington Commanders were towards the bottom, like 26, 27, somewhere around there. So you're looking at that. You're looking at the powerhouse that is Barkley. He rushed for 200 yards last week. And but still the powerhouse with the Commanders. Jaden Daniels can have some crazy things going on, but the Eagles' run defense, I'm trusting that against the run defense for the Commanders. So I have to give it to Philadelphia. If the Commanders pull this off, great story. A rookie leading his team to the Super Bowl. I mean, I get it. It will be a tremendous story. It is possible. I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Eagles and Sirianni. I don't think he's that good of a coach. But at the end of the day, I have to believe that the Eagles, who are the better team at home, are going to find a way to win this game.
Yeah, don't overthink this, folks. The Eagles are the better team. You know, what I will say is the problem is people get fixated on the fact that the Commanders have been taking 2 steps for every 1 step that Philly's taking, right? So I get it. The Commanders have improved a lot faster, a lot quicker. They're taking 2 steps versus Philly doing 1. But at the end of the day, Philly is the better team. They are at home. And when was the last time, Johnny, that a road team won 3 games in a row? Tom Brady. Last I checked, he's not on the Commanders. So I got to give Jaden Daniels his credit. He's a great rookie and all that good stuff, looking great, but he's no Tom Brady. So, yeah, it stops here. Eagles win at home. Eagles fly. And the team that I picked in the preseason to represent the NFC, folks, please listen to the podcast. The team that I picked in the preseason to go to the Super Bowl will be in the Super Bowl this year, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, Chris, accept your participation trophy that you want so bad. Let's forget
if
the
this
fact,
is my participation trophy, I accept it.
Let's forget the fact that you picked the Ravens to win, and they did not. So it's enough of that. Oh, but the other team I picked, it's going to possibly make it.
Well, the Ravens beat themselves. Yeah.
Oh
Moving on to the other team in the AFC where the Bills, excuse me, sir, the Bills, who your boy, Johnny, who's the Bills quarterback again? What's his name? What's his name again?
Tom Brady.
Is he? Okay, because I think he's the guy that had 120 yards and no touchdowns last week. Anyway, that guy, I don't even want to say his name. He's taking on.
He didn't rush for any touchdowns?
He's taking, no.
Josh Allen?
No, not last week. He went 0-0, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I don't think he rushed for any touchdowns. Pretty sure he didn't. Well, I'll check. At any rate, the Bills are traveling now. They're going to the Chiefs Kingdom at home. Chiefs are. Who's winning?
Listen, you don't disrespect Josh Allen. Listen, I'm not a Bills fan. Obviously, they're playing our division, but I respect the Bills. I respect everything they've done. I picked them to win that game against the Ravens, who they were the underdog. In this particular game, it's the same thing. They're going to Kansas City. They're in Kansas City. The thing is that everything tells me the Chiefs are going to win because they're playing in Kansas City, because everything you've watched, where there's been such a backlash more than any other time. We've always talked about like Mahomes getting the treatment, everything happening with them, but this time more than ever, it's happening so much worse. Everything that's happened with the flop and all the flag calls, I think now the NFL got the message that, hey, we can't let them go ahead, and we can't give you the Chiefs treatment.
Now they got the message.
I think so.
NFC Championship game.
I think that everybody's so turned off with everything that they're going to actually just let the game play out. They're going to let it happen, and because of that, I think the Bills are going to win this game. They let this game play. When I looked at it, Chris, because I looked at the analytics. Okay.
Everybody knows you don't. Go ahead.
So we're looking at the Chiefs and the Bills. Obviously, we saw one-score games, guys. I'm talking about six points or less victory-wise here. The Bill, if you reverse every single one-score victory for both teams, the Bills are 11-6. They're still 11-6, still winning the AFC East. They're 11-6. If you take away all of their close wins, all their 6-point or under wins, still 11-6. The Kansas City Chiefs, if you remove those wins and turn them to losses, are 5-12. 5-12. If you remove the referee, that 12th man from the Kansas City Chiefs, they are 5-12.
So who are you picking to win this game?
Even if I didn't even say it, you heard it, you felt it, You know it. Bills are winning this game. The NFL is going to allow the game to be played. And as long as they allow the game to be played, and I think they will because of all the backlash that's happening here, the Bills in Kansas City, finally, they're going to get over that hump, and they're going to beat this mediocre, should be 5-12 Kansas City Chiefs team. If they do not, I'm going to watch a Super Bowl. I'm going to be angry about it. I'm going to watch it. But, man, this is the worst number 1 seed in history. Somehow they got it because we know how Bills are winning.
Look, folks, ultimately, I'm going to tell you who's going to win. I'm not going to fail you. Just like throughout the season, I had more wins than he did.
You did not fail him last
let
week,
him check tape. Let him check tape. Let him check tape. So, at any rate, this is what's going to happen. The Ravens should have been the team because the Ravens have the talent to beat the Chiefs, and that's what he doesn't understand. That's what this man doesn't understand. And so, with that being said, folks, last time I'll say it: the Chiefs are going to win because here's what's going to happen in the NFL. If you think the NFL is scripted, think about this for 1 second. Josh Allen, I'll say his name, ended up having under 150 yards last week, no touchdowns, no interceptions.
It was QBR.
Okay,
outstanding.
Sir, you had your chance.
You don't have to.
Sir, you had, señor, tenías tu oportunidad
because he didn't turn the ball over, and the Ravens
Tú
did.
tenías tu oportunidad.
Good job. You did your job.
So, listen. And so now you kind of see a blemish in their game. And so I'm already foreseeing the future where they're going to go, oh, the Chiefs won this game. The Chiefs deserve to win because, look, the Bills don't even deserve to be there. They could barely beat the Ravens. And that's going to be the narrative. So when I'm right and the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, you're going to look back and go, dang, yo, Christian would do that dude with the hair, not the hat. That dude was right. And I'm like, yes, you're welcome. That's what's going to happen. Give me the Chiefs to win. The Bills are going to look. I wish the Bills at this point would win because, you know, you have the 4 Super Bowl appearances that they didn't win anything. You want them to finally break through.
4 in a row.
Yeah, but it's just not going to happen, John. Sorry. Patriots win this game.
Patriots? Yeah,
the Chiefs win this game.
It's in his head. It's in his head.
Chiefs win this game. Now, I will give you this. I actually pull up the analytics, and when you look at Mahomes, I will give this guy a little bit of credit. 7 years, 7. When we're talking about playoff appearances, 7 going to the NFC Championship game or Super Bowl appearances in a row. Sure. But I will give you this point. If you look at the last 3 years, they're trying to do that repeat, right? The worst statistical season for them to be at 15-2, just the worst. And you can't even like try to justify or explain yourself way through it. And then Kelsey again leading once again for the 3rd year in a row, all offense as far as receiving yards. So yeah, they're definitely terrible to see, but Kansas City's going to win, and they're going to the Super Bowl.
I guess the key players for me for the Bills, coach, need to have something on. And the same thing, it's a running game here. Offensively, they're going to be on point. I think a lot of dump passes there. Not so much rushing yards. I'm telling you, the running back catching the ball in the backfield are going to play big. Same thing for Hunt or Pacheco, whoever's going to be on the Kansas City backfield. But I'm telling you that's going to play. Those players are going to be an important part of this particular game. We'll look forward to it, Chris. But we'll see what happens. And then we look forward to the Super Bowl. We're going to get ready for that. It's a little 1-week layoff before we get to the Super Bowl, but we're excited about it.
Chiefs Eagles.
Pro Bowl is here in Orlando, so we'll see where we're going with the Pro Bowl.
I think we're going to be recording live from the Pro Bowl that's playing behind the TV.
Yeah, we'll play it live. They'll set it up there, so we'll see. Hopefully the weather's better. It snowed in Orlando here, first time in about 100 years or so. But we thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Of course, we'll be back next week. Kind of recap everything that happened in the conference final.
I'll be right. He'll be wrong.
We'll see. Later, guys.